first of our series, what we certainly hope will be, and we plan to make this a series of video recaps of what we've been doing each week in Washington and in District 19. So first of all, we had, as everyone knows, a remarkable event start the week with the extraordinary raid on the compound in Pakistan, resulting in the death of Osama bin Laden. And I am in awe of the men and women in our military and our fighting services who made that event happen, who executed it so skillfully without any loss of American life. I compliment as well our intelligence services, and we had the privilege of hearing Director Panetta this week earlier in a session that debriefed members of the House about some of the activities surrounding the operations. I feel that we are in excellent hands between Director Panetta and, of course, General Petraeus, who will be taking over for Director Panetta very soon. And, of course, compliments as well to our diplomatic corps. And certainly this was an event that we can attribute to a success, that we can attribute to the leadership of President Obama in making this crucial decision, and of President George W. Bush in the years that led to this event becoming possible to undertake. It was about 4 years ago, as I understand it, that the crucial piece of intelligence, the courier name that started this raid, was obtained. In terms of domestic events, in terms of legislation that we've been working on here in the Congress to make life better for all of us in District 19 and across the country, we've been thinking and working on rising gas prices. This is a problem that I heard about from many of our fellow citizens over the course of the past 2 weeks preceding this week in our constituent work period. This day marks the passage of a bill to enhance and accelerate the granting of oil development leases in the Gulf of Mexico and along the coast of Virginia. And that will result in an enhancement of our own domestic energy production, which we very much need. We have an energy portfolio that we need to develop, all the way from wind and solar and biomass, hydroelectric, geothermal, to carbon sources on which we're going to rely for our big energy needs for many decades to come, including oil and natural gas. So it's a welcome development to have passed H.R. 1230, which will accelerate the granting, the implementation of leases that have already been in the planning, but that the administration has essentially put on hold. So we're going to see some relief in oil prices, because there will be increased competition developing, obviously, with foreign suppliers on whom we continue to rely. I think that was a very good bill to pass today, and I'm hopeful that the Senate will follow suit and the President will sign it into law. The Affordable Care Act has concerned our citizens in District 19 for many months, and we have passed 2 bills this week through the House that will remove funding from certain aspects of the Affordable Care Act that we feel are not going to provide a net benefit for the cost that they will incur for the American people. And one of these laws defunds the development of state insurance exchanges. The other law, and that would have been unlimited funding for those exchanges, which would have added roughly $14 billion or more to our deficit spending. Every measure we can take to relieve deficit spending is wise. And the other law that we passed, H.R. 1214, defunds the construction of school-based health clinics. They were mandated with this funding about $3 billion that is currently available. That will be rescinded and returned to our general funds, if you will, to help relieve the deficit. But there was no provision for the actual health care within these clinics. So, again, a measure that did not provide a definitive net benefit for cost. And it's very important in an era in which we're running a $1.4 trillion deficit this year, when we are adding to the national debt that our children and grandchildren are going to be paying. We have to make every savings that we can. And of course, we continue to work on measures to replace provisions of the Affordable Care Act with measures that will actually work for Americans and not increase enormously the expansion of our bureaucracies. That's a costly way to approach our healthcare challenges. We also passed this week H.R. 3, and that was titled the No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion Act. During the campaign, I was clear always that I support the Hyde Amendment. H.R. 3 makes the Hyde Amendment federal law in a permanent way, and its provisions are not new provisions relative to what has already been the case year upon year as we have decided on federal funding for various aspects of care. So H.R. 3 puts that into law in a permanent way, and every Republican in the House conference did vote for H.R. 3, as did 16 members of the Democratic caucus, and that's an important measure that we passed this week as well. I have introduced a bill in the Financial Services Committee on which I sit called H.R. 1062, the Burdensome Data Collection Relief Act, and that is meant to repeal a section of the financial regulatory law, Dodd-Frank, that would require public companies to perform a very expensive and time-consuming analysis of certain types of data regarding their compensation of employees and their executives, data that are already provided in material form through existing laws of the Securities and Exchange Commission or the SEC. So the Dodd-Frank law added to those requirements in ways that would not be useful, and that's been specified by a number of entities involved in the purchasing of stock and in voting on corporate boards and on corporate governance. So to relieve those burdens will be a very wise thing. And H.R. 1062, the Burdensome Data Collection Relief Act, has now passed through a subcommittee, one of the subcommittees of the House Financial Services Committee, on which I sit, Capital Markets. And so now it will go to the full committee, and I'll keep you posted on how that's going. As you probably know, we've had dreadful tornadoes in our southeastern states, and that is of great concern. Many fellow members have very poignantly expressed their experiences and the fact that constituents have lost loved ones and property and memories and livelihoods. So the FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, has been stepping up, and I'm glad to support that effort. It is a dreadful calamity, and I'm very glad that District 19 has been spared that type of problem. This week is Holocaust Remembrance Week, in Days of Remembrance, and I had the privilege of being appointed to the board of the Holocaust Museum here in Washington. I have just come from reading names of Americans who perished in the camps, and I also spoke on the House floor about my own husband's family. My husband, Scott, had a grandfather whom he never knew because he died in Shanghai of malaria, having been driven out of his native country of Austria because of the Anschluss with the Nazis, and fortunately my father-in-law, his brother, and their mother were able to make their way to the United States. But the Holocaust devastated many lives, 6 million lost, and millions more who experienced dislocation and disruptions. I'm grateful that my husband's family was able to come to the United States and make their lives again here. Very brave people. Mother's Day is May 8th, Sunday, and I wish all the moms in our district and all the grandmothers a very happy Mother's Day with the families they love and care for. And I'll be celebrating with my own family, and I want to thank my mom for being the best for 51 years. And I love my sons, Will and Jack, and I thank them for enabling me to celebrate Mother's Day as a mom. So I look forward to observing that happy day with a lot of folks from around the district as the weekend proceeds. And quick reminder, hayworth.house.gov, hayworth.house.gov, G-O-V. You can visit us at that website. It's our congressional website, and you can reach us by email. You can pick up links to Facebook and Twitter and Flickr, and we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to see you in the district. I'll be all around this weekend as I am every day that we're home, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks.